The villagers hide behind a massive wall, unaware the real danger is already among them. As the Northern Legion Trading Company pushed west, they built a fort deep in the wilderness. Each spring, 36 settlers set off for Hudson Bay, their boats heavy with animal pelts, returning in the fall with vital supplies to survive the harsh winter. But in 1815, they never came back, lost to nightmarish creatures. Sisters Brigitte and Ginger Fitzgerald ride through the snow-covered Canadian forest on horseback. After some time, they realize they're lost, but Ginger is certain that mysterious forces have led them astray. Determined to continue, they try to push forward, but their horse refuses to move any further, forcing them to continue on foot. Soon, they stumble upon an abandoned Native American camp, clearly attacked by some unknown creature. Shocked, the sisters survey the wrecked huts and then spot an elderly woman, a seer, nearby. When they ask her what happened, she cryptically tells them that her sisters are dead and hands them matching medallions. Brigitte thanks the woman and puts one medallion on herself, the other on the frightened Ginger. But the old woman suddenly warns them that they must take the life of a certain boy, or one sister will kill the other. At that moment, their horse starts to panic and runs off in fear. The girls try to chase after it, but it's hopeless. Exhausted, they stop to rest, only for Brigitte to accidentally step into a trap, her leg caught in a snare. Ginger struggles to pry open the trap, but it won't budge. Desperate, she decides to return to the camp to seek the elderly woman's help. Brigitte pleads with her not to leave, but Ginger reassures her that she'll be back before she can count to 100. While waiting, Brigitte nervously glances around, flinching at every rustle in the woods. As she reaches 88, a snarling dog suddenly runs up to her, followed by an Indian hunter emerging from the forest, an axe in hand. Terrified, Brigitte warns the hunter that she's not alone. Just as Ginger returns, she strikes the hunter on the head with a stick and orders him to stay away from her sister. But the hunter quickly ties Ginger up with a rope, then frees Brigitte by unlocking the trap. He inspects her wound and applies medicinal herbs to it. Once Ginger is freed, the hunter motions for the sisters to follow him. After a while, they arrive at Fort Bailey, where the girls notice claw marks on the entrance door. The hunter silently enters the fort, leaving the sisters at the gate. A man named Cormac sees Brigitte limping and decides to let them in. At first, most of the fort's residents react with hostility, accusing Cormac of endangering the entire fort by letting strangers in. However, Cormac informs the fort's leader, Mr. Rollins, that one of the girls is injured, and Rollins asks to see the wound. The men of the fort fear that Brigitte might have been bitten by something, but she explains that she simply stepped into a trap. Ginger then shares that they were accompanying their father on an expedition to find a pass through the mountains when their ship sank. Their parents died, and they were washed ashore. Sergeant James advises Rollins to send the strangers away, but Rollins decides to help them and orders that they be taken to Dr. Murphy. Meanwhile, Brigitte asks Ginger about their story, and it becomes clear that Ginger made it all up. After examining Brigitte's wound, Dr. Murphy confirms that her leg can be saved as long as it doesn't get infected. He applies leeches, but they crawl away from the wound, and Murphy and Rollins exchange a mysterious glance. Murphy sedates Brigitte with an unknown solution, while Ginger questions him about the graves on the fort's grounds. Concerned it might be the plague, as there are almost no people left, Murphy reassures her that most have simply returned home. Ginger also asks what the residents of the fort are so afraid of, and Murphy explains that there are creatures in the forest that have likely already picked up their trail. That evening, a man named Finn takes the sisters to the room of Roland's son, Jeffrey, who passed away a few weeks ago. Ginger asks Finn about the destroyed Native American camp, speculating that armed raiders are active in the forest. Finn, agitated, dismisses her suggestion but mentions that the Native Americans had warned them against building the fort on this land, though their advice was ignored. Ginger presses him again, trying to understand where all the people have gone, and Finn explains that a trade caravan was supposed to return 2 months ago, but there's still been no word from them. Finn offers the sisters clothes belonging to Roland's wife, a Native American woman who is also dead, and bids them farewell until dinner. At dinner, Murphy suggests that a famine is likely approaching, just as the hunter enters and throws a werewolf's jaw onto the table. James suddenly grows suspicious of the hunter's intentions, as no one knows why he lives among them. The hunter lunges at James, reminding him that the Native Americans have been protecting their fort from werewolves all this time and won't tolerate baseless accusations. Suddenly, a chilling howl echoes from outside, and everyone disperses to their rooms. In the hallway, the sisters are stopped by Reverend Gilbert, who ominously declares that the fort has been in the devil's grasp for 2 months and must be destroyed. The sisters, terrified, lock themselves in their room, realizing that the fort is inhabited by lunatics. Later that night, Ginger hears strange noises from the corridor and decides to investigate the fort. Soon, she finds a reclusive boy locked in one of the rooms. As she approaches the child, he suddenly turns and lunges at her, biting her on the shoulder. Ginger returns to their room, waking Brigitte and telling her they need to escape, as the fort is too dangerous. The sisters quietly make their way to the fort's gates and are about to unlock them when James stops them. He pushes them to the ground, but Ginger challenges him to fight. While she distracts James, Brigitte grabs his rifle and threatens to shoot. Suddenly, they are interrupted by a werewolf trying to break through the unlocked gates. James struggles to keep the door shut and sounds the alarm. The men rush to help, but one of them is dragged away by the werewolf. Reverend Gilbert lures the sisters into what seems like a safe building, but it's actually a trap with a werewolf inside. He locks them outside, but luckily, the hunter arrives just in time, killing the werewolf with a single arrow. It quickly becomes clear that the number of werewolves is increasing, and all the men prepare to defend the fort. Rollins orders the sisters to return to their room, and at that moment, Ginger starts showing signs of infection, fever and a nosebleed. Later that night, Ginger has a strange dream in which she kisses the hunter and recalls the words of the Native American seer, warning that the sisters might have to kill each other if they don't kill a boy. Startled, Ginger wakes up and finds her nightgown and sheets stained with blood. Brigitte helps her weak sister to Dr. Murphy's office, but they find Finn there, destroying the leeches Murphy uses to test for lycanthropy. Suddenly, Murphy stops Finn and, with a gun pointed at him, demands that Finn place the remaining live leech on his chest. The leech attaches itself to Finn and rapidly expands. Realizing the man is infected, Murphy shoots him in the head. He steps into the yard where the men are inspecting one of the defeated werewolves. They spot a tattoo on him and realize it's Jean-Pierre, the captain of a trading ship. Seamus comments that the entire crew of the ship has turned into werewolves, but Jean-Pierre's brother refuses to believe it. Seamus suggests they leave the fort and follow the hunter. James refuses to take orders from the Native American, and Reverend Gilbert starts rambling about how they've earned these trials. A conflict brews between the men, but Rollins points out that they have no other choice. Staying here has become too dangerous. The men burn the bodies of their former friends and mount the monster's head on a stake at the fort gates to warn off other werewolves. Ginger confides in Brigitte, revealing that Roland's son, Jeffrey, is actually alive. He's a werewolf, and he's the one who bit her. Soon, Ginger falls asleep, only to be woken by Jeffrey, now in human form. He climbs onto her bed and says he can't find his mother, then quickly runs off. Ginger tries to stop him but doesn't have the strength. Later that night, Brigitte examines Ginger's wound and notices that hair is beginning to grow on it. She sets out to find some painkillers for her sister, and Rollins intercepts her. He asks if Ginger is alright, and Brigitte reassures him that she's just shaken up. However, Rollins shows her Ginger's locket, which he found in Jeffrey's room. Brigitte swears no one will find out the truth about his son, but Rollins is afraid the townspeople will kill Jeffrey if they learn he's a werewolf. Rollins tells her that his wife and son were recently attacked. His wife was killed, and his son was bitten. Since then, he's been turning into a monster. He gives Brigitte back her sister's locket and advises her to keep an eye on Ginger, knowing she's also infected, before walking away. Meanwhile, Jeffrey sneaks into Ginger's room. He crawls onto her bed and pulls a lock of her hair. She wakes up, terrified, and screams, but Jeffrey quickly vanishes into the shadows. Ginger inches closer to the little werewolf, and the words of the Indian seer echo in her mind, urging her to kill the boy. Just then, Brigitte returns to the room, and Jeffrey flees. Ginger tells her sister she has to kill him to break the curse, and then she'll be normal again. Meanwhile, Seamus is sharpening his spears when he hears strange noises. He grabs a knife and sneaks up to the attic, where Jeffrey suddenly attacks him. Soon, James and the other men discover Jeffrey's body, and beside him, they find a lock of red hair, making James suspect Ginger of the attack. The men storm into the sisters' room and drag Ginger to Dr. Murphy, while James stays behind with Brigitte and attempts to assault her. Suddenly, Rollins bursts into the room, brandishing a weapon, and forces James to leave. Brigitte begs Rollins to help her save Ginger, but he tells her it's too late. Ginger is already infected. Brigitte threatens to expose the truth about his son, which would lead to his death as well. Reluctantly, Rollins agrees to help the sisters, and they head to Dr. Murphy's office, where Reverend Gilbert is preparing to shoot Ginger. Rollins threatens Gilbert with his weapon, demanding that he let Ginger go. The men argue that a lock of Ginger's hair was found next to Seamus's body, but Brigitte insists her sister never left the room. Ignoring her protests, the men move forward, and Dr. Murphy retrieves a leech to test Ginger for lycanthropy. Rollins pleads with Murphy to stop, but when the doctor doesn't listen, Rollins shoots him. The frightened men flee the doctor's office, and Rollins helps Brigitte free Ginger. The sisters return to their room, and Ginger declares that she must kill Jeffrey as soon as possible. Brigitte just wants to leave and hopes there's another way to break the curse, but Ginger insists on her plan. Brigitte gives Ginger back her locket, and with a knife in hand, Ginger sets off to find Jeffrey. She soon finds him by his mother's grave and almost slits his throat, but then she feels a sudden pity for him and can't bring herself to harm him. At that moment, the men spot them and open fire, forcing Ginger and Jeffrey to flee. Meanwhile, the hunter bursts into Brigitte's room. He tells her it's too dangerous to stay here and reveals that he's seen her face in his dreams since childhood. He spent his life waiting for this moment to protect her. According to the seer, their destinies are intertwined, and the hunter suggests they go to her now to learn the truth. However, Brigitte insists she won't leave without Ginger. The hunter warns her that her sister is now incredibly dangerous and that soon, even Brigitte's love for her won't be enough to stop her. Suddenly, a commotion outside grabs their attention. The men have captured Jeffrey and are preparing to kill him, just as they did with the other werewolves. They accuse Rollins of lying and causing Dr. Murphy's death, but Rollins reminds them that he's still the leader of the fort, and he will do what he deems necessary. Rollins approaches his disfigured son, but Jeffrey pushes him away and runs. The men aim their weapons at him, but Rollins makes a decision. He will personally shoot Jeffrey. The sisters reunite, and Ginger, in despair, admits that she couldn't bring herself to kill Jeffrey, and now the curse can never be lifted. Rollins no longer sees any reason to help Ginger and demands that she leave the fort. Brigitte leaves with her sister, and they once again stumble through the snow-covered forest. Suddenly, Ginger stops, sensing someone is watching them. From behind a tree appears a young Native American named Milo, whom James had recently banished from the fort due to his race. Brigitte asks Milo for help in finding the hunter's cave, and he agrees to lead them. Along the way, they hear the sound of werewolves surrounding them. Suddenly, Ginger disappears from view, and soon Brigitte finds the injured Milo. Ginger returns to her sister, confessing that she couldn't control herself and attacked Milo. She urges Brigitte to leave her, as she may end up killing her too, but Brigitte refuses to abandon her. The sisters eventually reach the hunter's cave, where they find an elderly seer. The seer claims that nothing can be done for Ginger now, and that she should have killed the boy before he bit her. Soon after, the hunter returns to the cave. He explains that the English and the French brought diseases and a werewolf curse to their land. The Native Americans have long known that two sisters, Red and Black, would come for the werewolf and determine the course of things. The seer offers Brigitte a special drink that will allow her to see her fate. Brigitte drinks it and falls into a trance, where she sees the hunter preparing to chop Ginger down with an axe. She tries to stop him, but ends up stabbing Ginger in the chest instead. When Brigitte comes to, she is horrified to find that Ginger has torn the seer's throat out and fled. The hunter asks what Brigitte saw in her trance, and Brigitte admits that she didn't see her own end, but Ginger's. The hunter confesses that in his visions, he sacrificed himself so Brigitte could kill Ginger. That means she must end her sister's life in reality. Brigitte tries to refuse, but the hunter hands her a knife and convinces her there's no other way. He suggests they return to the fort and wait for Ginger, who will undoubtedly come back for her sister. However, when they arrive at the fort, the hunter takes the knife from Brigitte, and she finds herself captured by James and the other men. That night, Reverend Gilbert forces Brigitte to beg for forgiveness to save her soul, but she refuses and spits in his face. In response, he drags her to the square, where preparations are being made to burn her alive, but the hunter stops him by shooting him in the arm. Gilbert begs Rollins to finish what he started, but instead, Rollins first impales him with a spear in the stomach, then sets him on fire with a torch. At that moment, Ginger returns to the fort. James confronts her, and they struggle as he begins to beat her, but she slashes his throat with her claw. Ginger then opens the gates and lets in the other werewolves, who begin attacking the remaining inhabitants of the fort. Wounded Rollins helps Brigitte, then returns to the house, sets it on fire, and shoots himself in the head. While Brigitte fends off the werewolves with torches, the hunter kills them one by one. However, he too is bitten. He hands Brigitte the knife once more and urges her to kill her sister, but instead, she plunges the knife into his chest and reunites with Ginger. The sisters leave the burning fort, vowing to stay together forever. Brigitte takes Ginger's hand and presses their wounds together, thus infecting herself. What would you do if you were in the heroine's shoes? Would you sacrifice your sister's life to save others? Or would you stand by your closest person no matter the cost? Share your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.